All right, we are live, folks. It is a new month, a fresh month. It is a new quarter, which means we're almost done with 2020. Rob, would you say that you're eager to be done with 2020, or are you kind of like it's been okay, even though it's so crazy?
Yeah, it was all about adapting.
Hmm,
It was just a constant period of change this, change how we do this, make things safer. One of the things about this, of course, remodeling has boomed during this time.
Mm-hmm.
And as with your business and mine, people literally had more time to talk. So
It's true.
there's been a surge on this side of it too,
Yeah.
and so it really has, everything has, there's a little silver lining to everything that happened. So
Yeah, cool. Good. So this is the Remodeler Show. I have Rob Baugher with me, um, and we've got people flowing in. As you're flowing in, if you want to click the like button, let me know you're there, and also that'll allow other people to see it. And what we're going to talk about today is so a lot of you are in my Remodelers community Facebook group, and then Rob has one called Remodel It IT. If they search Remodel It, they'd find it, right?
yes, everything
Right.
froze.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
And so two, I would say I would say the top two Facebook groups for remodelers to be a part of. We could debate that. Let's have this nasty debate and be like, I'll say, Rob, can you tell us why your group is better than Kyle's? And then while you're trying to answer, I will yell at you, and then
yeah,
vice versa, because that's how we're supposed to do it.
that's would be a good debate.
Okay. But Rob has this thing in his group that he posts, and he calls it sawdust. And it's just little nuggets of wisdom from his years of remodeling and now doing some coaching and consulting. And it caught my attention when he posted it. And I'm like, that would be a good topic to talk about on the Remodeler Show. So we're going to get into that. And what it's related to are, what are the key questions that prospects have? And how can we answer them? And it also just ties into, how can we stand out and be different than other people that might be our competitors, if you will. So that's the main thing we're going to talk about. But we also can take your questions. Tate's already sharing here. Yep. Yes. Top two groups. All right. Rock and roll. So Rob, let's kind of start with our main topic, and then hopefully people will also ask some questions. I have a hard break right at the bottom of the hour today. Hopefully the dog will not bark like she's been barking and ruin the show. And we'll have a lovely time. So far, we're already having a lovely time, aren't we?
Are you asking me or
Yes, you.
oh, this is just so much fun,
Okay.
Kyle.
All right. So if I were to say, can you write down the answers that if you had these questions, these things that people want to ask about, and I were to say, hey, why don't you share some of those with us, Rob? What are some of those? Or even before you do that, maybe share just the concept behind this topic.
Okay. Yeah, the whole concept is that I began to, it was a customer that brought it to my attention, is that I actually knew what questions they were going to ask next. And then I began to see that once I saw that in myself, that there were some things that happened on every job that were similar. And I really began to look at everything in my life. The way that you comb your hair is the same way. The way that you wash your hands, the way that you make a sandwich. It's like there's so many things that you do that are, there's a pattern and there's a system. And we already have a pattern or system. We just don't realize it. If I ask you to put your hands together, you put your hands together in a certain way. In my situation, my left thumb is always on top of my right. If
Same
I
here. Same
if
here. It must be because we're both brilliant. It's a sign of brilliance, right? For left. Go ahead and do it, people. If your right thumb goes on top of the left, I'm sorry, but
now the problem is my wife is left-handed, and
ah,
so I don't use this illustration with
okay.
her.
My wife is left-handed too.
But with that, it's like we do it.
Pardon me. I'm not going to interrupt you again. I promise. But my wife has this. My wife has this thing on the refrigerator, and it says, "Everyone is born right-handed. Only the great ones overcome it."
Mm,
Yes, all the lefties. So you're seeing these patterns.
that's it. There's a pattern, and then what happened when the client asked me, do you know what question I'm going to ask you next? It was like, well, yes, I actually do. And then they said, could you write down all the questions I'm going to ask you and just give them to me? And so I did. It took about 45 minutes, wrote that down. At our next meeting, I just handed them an information sheet. The information sheet, then from that, I began to use it on every job, because I realized if I sum up what I'm going to tell them from memory on every job when I first meet them in a sales meeting, then when I get through, I would always finish with either we closed the deal, or they were they still weren't sure or needed to discuss it with their spouse. Then I would pull this out and hand it to them. I said, this is your cheat sheet. When your spouse asks you a question, everything you didn't ask me yet is already on here. And so and they always thought it was funny, and it was a nice way to leave. As you're going out the door, you hand them something that has your name on it, your phone number, your web address, your blood type. I mean, it's got everything in there they could possibly need to get back in touch with you. And every answer is listed. And what I do in the sales meeting, I'm sitting there, and all of these things I'm doing from memory. Many of the things that are on this sheet the information we'll go over today, I don't tell the client. I don't sit there and list the awards, and the accomplishments, and I don't, because that would be crass. But if it's written down under a heading that says awards, if you want to know if we've won these awards, yes, we did. Yes, we've done this and this and this, and we're in remodel. We did the Big 50, and we're State Remodeler of the Year and City Remodeler of the Year, and we won all these design awards and restoration awards. It's there, and they can read that. It actually helps that you don't mention it, and it's on that piece of paper. But so what you're going to do is, I realized that every client was asking the same question. And part of this was reinforced. You may be familiar with Ravi Zacharias. Okay, he's a Christian apologist, and who is constantly doing debates and discussions with his ministry. And I always respected what he was doing. I began, I would listen to some of those, during the day while I'm working, and it was like, how does he always know the answer? I said, this is just amazing. Any student who comes up to ask him a question at a college, he knows the answer. And I began to listen to how he would take the question and turn it slightly to say, you're actually asking about this. And then he would give them the information. And I was like, he's shifting their question just a little to get to this topic.
To get to the root of their question oftentimes too.
But then I started doing more research, and I found an old video where someone had asked him, how do you do that? And he said, there are only 18 or 19 questions. All I have to do is have those answers already established in the way that I want to present them. And he said, everyone that I meet to, if I get a question that I can't answer, I ask someone to come up afterwards to discuss it with me so that I can help them. But what I realized is that's what this is. And on my list, I have approximately 13 items. And on that, and what it is all the questions that every client asks you at somewhere in almost every meeting. And so some of those, they're going to ask about your experience. Well, I have 48 years of remodeling experience. I know, okay, I can win on this one. And so then they're going to ask you about your reputation. Everybody has some kind of reputation. I write an editorial column for a local magazine. And so I'm in there and I'm helping the public, and that has my byline at the bottom so they can get in touch with me. And that brings in, $1 million in leads a year. I have a radio show. It's the same thing. They hear me, they get to know me. I've had the radio show for 10 years. Then I answer their questions. I help them, but they find out who we are and what we do. That brings $1 million worth of leads in a year. We produce our own magazine. And so so the public knows about that. That gets out there. They're familiar with us. That brings in, 6 million in leads.
Okay. So pause there and let me summarize something. So again, there's a certain number, whether it's 12, whether it's 8, whether it's 15, that the old 80-20 rule, right? 20% of the questions are resulting in 80% of the results. This thought that and it was interesting, it's like these are questions that people have. Oftentimes they're actually not asking it. They're thinking about it. They're researching us to try to get the answers to. And one overriding theme here that you touched on in that whole thing is get this information out of your head and write it down. When you go through this, so far even, my experience, my reputation, you mentioned awards, these are not earth-shattering things, right? No. These are practical things, but nobody takes the time to write these things out. Nobody takes the time to just hand it to the prospect so that, okay, they're thinking about experience, reputation, awards, and we'll keep going.
Yeah.
And it just reassures them. It builds know, like, and trust.
Yes.
Okay. So I just wanted to kind of emphasize what I'm seeing here. So go through a few more, because I think as people hear more examples, they're like, oh, I could do that.
Right. These are the things that you are already doing. You just haven't seen the pattern in the system that you have.
And so also more importantly, Rob, Nancy's right thumb is on top because she's a lefty.
Oh.
Bram's just putting his thumb up because he actually did it as well.
Some people can't follow instructions.
Yes. So I do this? What? Bram, come on. You gotta. No, he knew what he's doing. All right, carry on. What are some of the other ones?
Right. The next is I'm going to talk to her about our crews, our people. I'm going to talk to her about their character, who I'm going to bring into their home, because they care about that. So I'm going to address it in that first meeting with them. I'm hitting all of those pieces and parts. I'm going to mention that we're licensed to do business in the state.
We're gonna
repeat.
Yep. Hey, we're getting a little delay there. I just wanted to hit on the crew part. You guys need to have an About Us page on your website, and you need to list out everybody. Your team doesn't. Oh. We're just gonna go like this. Now we got 3 people, or 2 people and an animal. As I was saying, your crew. Show off your crew. What you're saying there of, people are trusting these people to come into your home. Those are the real faces of the company. They're going to see day in and day out. And the peace of mind when they hear about, we have a tremendous crew. The lead person who's going to be working on your project has been with us for 18 years. Love him like a brother. He's going to take wonderful care of you. He communicates well, and just to talk to them and to put your crew on a little bit of a pedestal builds, again, tremendous know, like, and trust.
Mm-hmm. Somewhere in there, you're going to drop in that is Lucy the dog. Is that
Lucy's? Yes, Lucy's the dog.
Okay. Somewhere in there, you're going to drop in the fact that you are licensed in the state, in the county, and the city, and because what you're really doing is setting the stage for whoever else they might talk to. Where the next person, they may actually ask that question. They may take that information sheet and ask them every question. And I want to control the rules to the game. If I can control the rules to the game, then I've got everybody moving the direction that I want to. Then I can pick where I want to shine.
Yeah, makes sense.
Or is the competition. I'm going to mention that I'm licensed. I'm going to mention that I carry workers' comp insurance. No one's allowed on their job without workers' comp, and we carry $2 million in liability.
Do people care about that, Rob?
Some people, it's all they care about. You never know.
Because they've been burned before, because they know the industry, or because they work in insurance. Who knows?
Gosh, they've heard stories.
Again, builds trust, though. Okay, these guys are reputable.
Yep. Then we're going to mention that we have availability for other professionals, engineers, banks, mortgage companies, whatever you need, we're going to help you. We can direct you that way. So we're mentioning all of that. Here's the thing. That was about 7 items. Everybody does that. Everybody has something they can put in those blanks. Well, this is what we're like. This is who we are. And again, you're building a relationship with them during this conversation. And then, what I'm going to do is I'm going to begin to talk about some of the other things and some of these things that we do that other companies don't do. And I'm going to stress that fact is like, if you're comparing, once you look at the price and our price is the same as the other 5 good remodelers in town, here are the other things you get if you hire us. Here's what comes with the package if you select us. Basically, it's we're caring about the neighborhood. We're caring about keeping everything clean. We're caring about recycling anything that we can. We're going to talk to them about how we can donate their cabinets instead of destroy them with a sledgehammer. We're going to talk about that we have no smoking,
Rob, a lot of people, we got a little delay, but a lot of people love the idea of, oh, you're not just going to pitch this. They care about that donation thing for them to actually see. Like for you guys to take a picture when you drop off that stuff to Habitat for Humanity or whatnot would
Yeah.
make so many people just feel great, you know, but we don't even mention it. Carry on.
And you can use that. Plus, we turn it around and say, we'll donate your cabinets. We'll be able to get a 30% value on those, and I'll give you the donation receipt.
Well,
Now you've got someone who is watching every dollar, and that matters to them. And someone is going to get to use this, and it's not going to fill up a landfill. And so I'm painting that picture of how this is going to operate. I'm taking them on this journey, you know, as far as this is what it's going to be like. Other people are saying, oh, okay, you want your kitchen remodeled? Yeah, it'll be this much. And do you want to do it or not?
yeah.
I'm describing the entire journey, what this is going to be like, how we're going to have fun doing this, and what we're going to bring to the table. So then I'm going to discuss some of the differences. We hold certifications from the National Association of Home Builders. We hold 6 certifications in that, and then 3 other certifications. It's like, so we've been trained to do what we do, and I'm pushing in to let them know exactly what we do and how we care. We offer design services, so we can design your job. We can show it to you in 3D. We can give you the virtual tour, 360, and virtual goggles. You can see the project before we build it. Now I'm in their brain, in their imagination, and I'm offering them things that no one else around me is offering. It's like, I'm going to mention that we have a 5-year labor warranty, which no one else in the state has. I purposely have set that higher so that I'm different. I have to be different if I want to get their attention. I have to be unique. And so these are the things, you know, that I'm talking about, that we have and when I sit down with them at their kitchen table, after we've looked at the project, I explain to them, I want to tell you what our remodeling system is like. This is our process. Everyone else is talking about the job and a price. I want to visit with them and explain our system, because it's our system that they can grab a hold of and they can buy into. You're going to show me my project. I'm going to see everything completely finished. It's like, I want that, you know, and I can have that for the same price as these. Yes, we can do all of that, and we're comparable prices. You're not paying more for this service. We're giving you more for what you're paying for. And then we get into the next item. I'm going to mention to them that because of this system, we're able to complete our projects 40% faster than anyone else. And we know that, and so we can promise that. We can tell you exactly, have you talked, and then I may ask, have you talked to anyone else about the project? How long did they say it would take for them to do it? Because that's a big question. How long are you going to be here? And then if they say, well, someone else said it would be around 12, 13 weeks. That's how long they would be here. And I said, well, for us, this job normally takes us about 10 weeks. We'll try to complete it much faster than that. I think we can. We may be able to complete this in 6 weeks. And with our system, I said, and let me tell you how my system works. Now, I just threw out a huge dare, a huge claim that I can do this faster. And so I have to back that up, and I'm pulling them into our whole process. And I explain, we do this 2 ways. One of the things we're going to do is put a full-time project manager on your job site who is working on your site all day, every day. They are your concierge. They will handle everything that happens on the job. Every conversation you need, you can talk directly to them all day long, every day. It costs more to do that, and so I have to work faster to do that. But if I work faster, you get your job back sooner. So they'll control everything. They'll open and close the door. They'll make sure that everything stays clean. So I'm painting the picture of the project manager. I said, the other way that we do it, the second way we do it, is that we create a timeline on every project. And we're going to have every half day is scheduled from the day we start to the day we finish. And we're going to be working that schedule and be in control of this job so that you feel safe and secure and comfortable. And it was like, the way we do all of this is we offer you a design price contract, and you can sign this right here, and you can pay us to design your kitchen. It costs $3,500. You can write the check now, or you can think about it, whatever you want to do. What would you like to do?
Pause, Rob, before I write you a $3,500 check. I don't know if it's the process you're talking about, the smooth Southern drawl, but I haven't interrupted you in 6, 7, 8 minutes. I'm just listening. I'm just
I
like,
was scared you would interrupt me.
No, no, I never interrupt people, please. But you're sharing it again. These are the thing that several things. One is these are things that so many of you, some of these that you do,
You
some
do
of these
already.
you're thinking like Michael just thought, oh, I need to add no markups and total transparency to the website. I want people to see that. That's a huge
Yeah.
point of difference that Michael does. Somebody said, I see this could be helpful for a prospect who may not know how to decide, how to determine who they want to work with. They don't, you guys think that your prospects know way more about the process and remodeling than they actually do. They don't know hardly anything. And when you start to fill their mind and educate and teach and explain it and give them clarity on it, you differentiate yourself. And when you differentiate yourself, you can charge what you need to charge to be profitable and run a great business. When you're the same as everybody else, look the same, talk the same, act the same, like that description you gave earlier of, well, this is the price, let me know if you're interested. You're going to always compete on price. So we have to continue to build value and differentiate. And these are just practical ideas. Take these ideas, write them down, present them to your homeowners.
Yeah. And where I'm explaining this to you so far in 22 minutes, I'm going to spend 40 minutes going over this with a client. We have conversations going back and forth. Sometimes they'll say, well, actually, someone has already given me a price on the job. And I will say, can I see it? And they'll go over and open a kitchen drawer and come back, hand me a business card with pencil writing on the back with a number on it. And it's like, they're doing my job for me. I've received those before and just broke out laughing. It was like, what are they going to do? Where's the scope of work? Where's the design? Where's the process? Where are the decisions? And it was like, and here's the price, and here are the allowances. It's like, you're on your own. Well, in my process, we're working with them. I have a designer meeting with them for 5 meetings, going over this job, making every decision. I'm explaining all of that. And when we get to the end of it and I present my contracts, then we have a 93% closing ratio on our sales. Because what we found out through the years is they want answers to this and they want to feel good about it. And so give them what they're really asking for. It's not about the price. It's those, price is number 6. There's 5 other things where they make a decision. And you hit those things with a know, like, and trust, which is, you don't have a T-shirt that says that yet. I can't believe it.
That's a good idea.
It's like,
the heart of that, I got to give credit where credit is due. When I started my business, I became a duct tape marketing coach. That's John Jantz's original kind of definition of marketing, as I was a duct tape marketing coach. So I can't take full credit for it.
It's a good guy.
Yeah. So let me say, hey, does anybody have a question? Let's get that out here. Share some takeaways that you're hearing, or even some, what, like Michael said, I'm going to do this and put that on my website. I love seeing that. And Rob, convince or give remodelers some first steps in this. Like, okay, this all makes sense. What would you suggest as far as, okay, if you kind of like what you're hearing here, if it makes sense, here's what you should do next. What comes to your mind for that?
The easiest place to start that is that what you're doing is developing your own process. When I published this, a few weeks back, people were like, wait, you didn't tell us the 13 items. Well, I can't do that on a quick post that goes out. You have to have more discussion, at least like this. And the point was, and many of the other people would step in and defend me on the different groups where I post this, because I posted about 22 groups. And so it goes out and people are going, guys, the point is for you to do it for you. That's the whole point. Your reasons, your differences are going to be unique. So, but you sit down and you grab a piece of paper and you say, or you stop right now and you say, what questions are they asking me when I meet with them? Write that down. What you find out is it's the same questions over and over and over. There's a system, there's a process. You already have this. You just need to get it out of your head and onto a piece of paper.
Yeah.
That's all you need to do. And so, but again, that being, I'd already given them a business card when I walked in the door, but to hand them something else as I'm going out the door that they can use as an outline with when their husband comes home from work and they can say, and their husband says, yeah, but what about so-and-so? Well, he's got $5 million worth of, he's got $2 million worth of life insurance. But none of this matters, honey, if they don't warranty the work. Well, they have a 5-year warranty,
Mm,
5-year warranty. And so I'm turning the housewife, if I can use that term, politically correct,
carefully.
and I'm turning her into a salesperson. She is now standing in front of, or they're standing in front of their spouse, and they're answering questions, and they're closing the deal for me. So that,
And they're reminding themselves when we have a sales meeting, like we hear most of it, we hear some of it, but even if both spouses are there, to be able to look at it and go, oh yeah, he did mention that. He did mention that. Chris said, I need to develop the info sheet and leave it when we finish the first meeting. Now, Chris, I know you're busy right now, but I would love nothing more than for you to do a draft of this. And then within the next week or so, I feel like within the next week is reasonable, and go back and just take a picture of it and post it underneath this. I think he's going to do it. Chris is kind of a doer.
he is. Chris jumps in if he's
Yes,
not riding motorcycles.
that is true. Or whatever he's doing in that picture. Okay. You have as we kind of wind down here, you're gonna share. Well, hey, if you heard nothing else, here's kind of the main takeaway I want you to hear. I will do that same thing and kind of say, hey, if you heard nothing else, here's what I want you to hear, and then also tell people how to get a hold of you, and also mention, in case there's like a late straggler who wants to get involved, you have an event even this Saturday.
I do. It's a 1-day event in Birmingham, Alabama, and it's called Plan, Produce, and Profit. And what we do is we spend 2.5 hours talking about how to design and plan a job with a client. And then we talk about the production of the job and the system that we use in order to produce the job, so that all of that is explained. And then we talk about the profits that you can achieve by using this system that we've created through the years. And so it's a 1-day event. It's $1,000 and includes lunch. And so we'll sit there and dig in to help you and be able to just talk one-on-one. We'll wind up sitting around a large table and having a discussion so that you can implement the things that we're talking about.
Love it.
So that's Saturday.
Okay, that's Saturday. And then how else can they get a hold of you? If you type in remodel it with and then put an exclamation mark, you'll find Rob's group, or you can reach out to him. He's in my group as well. You can message him on Facebook, etc. Tate says, I'm working on the info sheet in my head now. Good. I mean, get it out of that head, Tate, eventually. But I like that you're doing it. We give prospects a folder with information on us, awards, referrals on a particular type of project, and a remodel process, which we review before we leave. Nancy's the longtime client. I feel like I'm playing T-ball. Rob is in the big leagues. Just, okay, fair enough. Just start. You can, all of a sudden, you're going to be in AAA before you know it. I mean, AAA ball players still, I mean, you need to get to the big leagues because that's when you actually make some money. But AAA is getting close. Okay. Rob, if you were to summarize, hey, if you take nothing else from what we heard, hear this, how would you answer that?
It's that everything that you do in your business, there is a system. You have a certain way that you do it. Sometimes it's kind of like developing a bad habit. It's like if you want to break the habit, you look at it, you see exactly what it is, and you decide how you're going to change that, how you're going to prevent that from happening again. What can I do differently? It's like if there is no dessert in the house, I can't eat dessert without getting my keys and asking my wife if I can treat her to ice cream. It's like you got to put a barrier in front of you. Everyone has a system. Everyone has a process. And really what I've realized is that I'm not really, a lot of these things like today, I'm not really teaching you my process. I'm trying to get you to make your process. It's like, how do you answer this? When they ask you this, what did you say? How do you defend? How do you give, an account for this is who we are, this is what we do, this is how we do it. And if I've done a good job of that and they tell me no, I can walk away and feel really good about it because they know exactly who I am. They know exactly who they're turning down. I'm okay with that.
Good. Excellent. And my takeaway is, I'm the host, so I get two. Number one is write it down. Get it out of your head. Yes. It's not worthless when it's in your head because sometimes you'll remember to say this. Sometimes you'll do blah, blah, blah. But you got to write it down. It separates you just by writing it down, because nobody does. My second takeaway, as I think about this and reflect on this, is we all need to just step back and slow down for a second. You're busy. It's a busy business. But if you actually stepped back and looked at how you're going about your sales process, and
Perspective.
just say, how am I doing with that? Boy, I just gaze over that. I don't even hardly tell them about this. I think if you pulled yourself back and kind of looked and analyzed how you're doing your process, it's going to really jump at you of go, oh, there's so much untapped potential in leaning into this or doing that. So try to pull yourself back. One good way to do that is have it when it's fresh in your mind. You just wrapped up a sales call. What worked? What didn't work? Step back, think about it, look at it. And I think with what we covered today, I think it also will spark some things. I also love that you used that Ravi example, because I love Ravi. He passed away a couple months ago.
It is a great guy.
He's a great man.
Let me mention one other cheat on that, Kyle, is I would, when I first began doing this, on my customer information sheet, which I have on my clipboard, and my pen when I'm talking to them, in small print over on one side, I have 5-year warranty, full-time project manager. It's like 40% faster. It's like I have just tiny little phrases in a box sitting there. And when I glance at the box, instantly, it's top of mind.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't want to leave here without them knowing this about me, that we do design and that we'll handle the whole thing. And here's how we can help you now. And then it's just, do you want us to help you, or would you rather talk to 10 other people?
Yeah. Bam. I got to go, my friend. Thank you so much for your time and expertise, and we'll see you soon.
Good to see you, Kyle.